Hey everybody. Man, you guys are active in the chat and hadn't even started yet. Nice to see everybody. Alfredo and Bootlegging and Mr. Red Jack. We got Chris and no, well, it's whiskey day for Alfredo. Gee, congratulations. Not here, unfortunately. Uh, yes, but happy Friday to all as well, Chris. Thank you so much. So busy day here, and obviously I wasn't prepared. I haven't turned off all of these things that are pinging me, but wanted to let you know that we're very busy here at Cafe HQ. So we're working on the a lot of the programming going into Comic Art Live for next weekend, and it always surprises me. I think it's like easy, just turn it back on, but it's not. There's always a lot of little things to do, and I've been doing a lot more managerial stuff this time, trying to round up a few things. And we had a lot of help from the Hero Initiative with the panels this time around and some of their staff, but I've got to reach out to a few more people tonight. I'll be emailing Tatiana and a few other people this evening just to kind of round out the panels for next week. So yeah, just a very busy schedule. So that's why I've got like more of my rally cap on tonight. I'm not wearing my Thor helmet. It's going to sit over there for the evening. Nothing really fun for me tonight or Maureen. So that's okay. Very, very fun event for sure next weekend. But so and I've kind of got myself in another one of those situations where I've got a lot of live streams coming up too. Other than having tomorrow off, we've got the collector conversations on Sunday, which is going to be a lot of fun. We've got the ADD show, of course, the amateur dueling dealers episode with Mikhail and Jason on Monday evening. I've got guest Michael Gaucheron on the Comic Art Live group interview on Tuesday. Then Mike and Anthony on Wednesday with Dueling Dealers. On Thursday, my Comic Art Spotlight will be with collector Tony Brischler, who's in the audience a lot, as everybody knows. And then Friday, we'll do another one of these. And then Saturday, Sunday, we're into Comic Art Live. So very busy, but going to be a lot of fun. I wouldn't want it any other way. So a couple things with Comic Art Live that, since I was working with Jim McLaughlin and Hero for the show and having them, I kind of approached them and I said, the panels are a lot of work, and ideally I would like to see them, because I've always been a big supporter of the Hero, as I'm sure Initiative, as I'm sure many of you are. And I said, I'd like you to think about it as, maybe not this show, but going forward, if this weekend works really well, I want them to look at these weekends as an opportunity to essentially make a show that's really kind of centered around the Hero Initiative on the panel side of things. Bring in guests that have supported them in the past so that they can show support for them, but also put together opportunities to help them raise money, especially at this time, with COVID still going on and them not having the same access to shows and whatnot. So we'll see how that goes. If it goes well, then I'll probably do a bit more with them next time. If not, I'll still figure out how to work them into the show. But so working with Jim, he works for Talent Talk as well. And so if you guys have noticed in some of the emails that we've been sending out, there's certain sketch opportunities and meet and greets that are available. It's kind of been outside of my thing. I wanted them to run with it. So I can't even say, I don't believe they happen on the weekend of Comic Art Live. I think they're scheduled for in the week after that. But there's Dan Jurgens, Mike Grell, Kevin Nolan, Howard Chaykin, Andy Lanning, Matt Wagner, Ryan Sook, and Brett Breeding all have Talent Talk opportunities out there. So I would definitely encourage you to take advantage of of doing some of those. I know that some of that will probably go to support the Hero Initiative and other things that are going on, and support the artists as well. So I think I'm going to end up picking up a few of them myself, because like a lot of you, we haven't had a lot of opportunities to get in front of artists, even just for a few minutes, and get a sketch that you're going to get. So there was an email that I sent out late tonight, probably about an hour ago, that had the full list of links and artists that were participating in that. So again, just something I think I just want to make the show a little bit more fun this time around. And as well as having that, there is a very specific Hero Initiative drink and draw that is going to happen on Saturday evening. And I don't know if it starts at 8 or 10 yet. I've been waiting to hear back when they're going to do it. But I know, in the last list I got from Jim McLaughlin, I know that, let's see the email here. It was Tony Parker, Jules Rivera, Mike McCone, Ryan Dunlevy, Dan Brereton, Jim Calfior and Tom Rainey are definitely participating in that. And I know the way they've done those in the past, and I'm assuming that we're going to do the same thing this time around, probably on Monday, if not this weekend. They're going to announce when the opportunity comes around, because essentially each of those artists are going to do five sketches during the drink and draw, but they're prepaid ones. Actually, you go to Hero's website, and I don't know what the dollar amount is, to be honest, but you'll be able to say, I want this character. You don't get to pick the artist, but you get to say what character you want, and there's a finite number of slots available for it. So you pay for that in advance, and during the drink and draw, while the artists are sketching, they're going to be sketching the artwork that they're eventually going to ship. So again, and all that goes to support Hero. So, and again, something that has always been near and dear to me. As you know, I put Hero in every mailing, and I promote all the eBay auctions that they do, and all that's for free for them. And so I would encourage everyone to at least look into that when the announcement comes out. As soon as the drink and draw opportunities arise and they've got them on their website, I will certainly push out a special email and through CAF, and probably put it up on Facebook and and all the usual places. I'll let you guys know here as well. So other than that, I think that's everything that's going on with that. We're very close to finalizing the panels. Like I said, I'm going to email a couple people tonight to wrap all that up, and then I'll be able to certainly announce by Monday, if not sooner, the whole panel schedule. So there are going to be there is a art rep who's doing a claim sale on Saturday as well in the evening. I believe at 7 p.m. So that should be interesting. Haven't done one of those on Comic Art Live as the weekend show anyway. So again, yes, thanks. I appreciate I've made life bearable. So yeah, it's made my life more bearable too, I can assure you. So it's been a lot of fun. But I'm just trying to think if that's all the little bits out of the schedule that are coming up. But yeah, so I'm trying to get all the updates into the show that I wanted to, like the being able to favorite a dealer or a seller, and then also the make offer, so that we can show a count on how many offers have been made on artworks throughout the show, so you kind of know how much competition you might have for a piece that might force you to make a full offer on the artwork after you see 3 or 4 offers go out there, or maybe make your own offer, right? So Maureen is working on both of those things kind of in tandem, and they both should be ready when the show rolls out to everybody who's a premium member at 11 a.m. next Saturday, and of course open to the general public at 1 p.m. on the 22nd. CAFCON. I have not deemed it CAFCON yet, Ruben. I am sorry. I don't know. Like I said, it was always meant to be something different. I firmly believe that the show should be moved outside of CAF, only because it is CAFCON if it doesn't have more legs than that. And I have people coming to me wanting to do a sponsorship for the show nowadays, and I have to turn them down because I can't do it. It doesn't. How do you bring in a whole new advertiser and plop them inside of CAF's constraints? I just can't. So so there are these other things that would like to work with me and have the show promote their stuff, and we can't do it. It's like every auction house wants to have a exhibitor booth, for instance, and the programming doesn't allow for that, right? Everything has to be a fixed price. So I'm faced with these challenges of having a lot of people very interested in what we're doing and not really being able to accommodate any of them in any way. So it's and I knew that going in. I mean, I was asked a lot in November. I was even asked in May for that kind of thing. And that's why the show was always meant, I'd always hoped to put it outside of CAF. The management of your exhibitor booth could be right through CAF, like it should be, since it's tied to premium memberships and everything. But I always wanted it to be its own thing, because I think that it just should be in its own way. I don't know, but you're right. I know a lot of everybody here would probably say that it should be promoting CAF at the same time. So I don't know. It's a good problem to have, that a lot of people really wish it was called CAFCON, and that it stays in CAF. And for knowing my schedule, it might never ever be able to leave CAF, because we're not able to get to it. But or BillCon. Thanks, Dino. You have got I like it. BillCon or BilliganCon, right? And sorry, I can't read all the comments going through here. But at any rate, we'll see how things go. I mean, I'm always I'm always optimistic that I'll have the time to put into these shows. But I can say, like I said earlier in the week, I've got another dealer that's picked me up to do a website for them, and I'm in the middle of 2 redesigns currently, one with Anthony and one with Albert. Actually, even though we did that upgraded programming code for him, we are working on a facelift he wanted. So lots of things going on. So it really does make it hard for me to ever probably break it out of CAF, and we'll see someday. Sorry, I'm just reading this helps. But yes, it does help us run the empire. That is true, Mr. Redjack. And yes, Ruben is always right. And I was emailing with Ruben earlier. We are going, as I can tell you, one of the panel guests will be Mike Perkins. So that's going to be pretty cool. And it'll be 4 p.m. on Saturday. So that should be a lot of fun. And obviously, most of the other panels too they're creators. Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Conner will be the 5 o'clock panel on Saturday as well. They approached me a couple weeks back. They said that because Jimmy's going to be on one of my interview shows, I think in about 2 weeks. And no, it's actually June 17th. That's right. And so about 3 weeks from now. So he had asked about that, and I said, well, sure. And do you want to be on a panel? And he and Amanda agreed. So we're going to have definitely a good show when that comes out. So we might as well just run into my weekly CAF update. As you can see from up there, it's the 44th CAF update. So we're getting close to 1 year of doing these. I really think I started doing it right at must have been the beginning of July, but maybe it was more like middle of July. Those first ones were all recorded. If you remember, I was, at that time, I was still too nervous to go on screen in front of everybody by myself. I needed my dealers as a crutch. And now look at me. Here I am in front of all of you without worrying about it. So, that's how it goes. But it'll be pretty cool when we hit a year of doing these, because it was something that I wanted to do when I knew the dealers didn't want to do a weekly show. Their mindset was to kind of keep things 2 weeks on, 1 week off. They didn't want to be in front of the population. They didn't want the overexposure, which is weird, to think of it now, because now we're all looking for our time in front of everybody. And but that was the mindset back then, and so that's why I started doing the CAF update as a separate show and doing interviews with that. So big shot, Bill. Thank you, Tyler. Yes, exactly. And yep. And again, Mike will definitely be a great addition to the show. I completely agree. Primitatis. Yes, exactly, Rich. I know. Tell me about it. But anyway, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. I'm glad that they didn't want to do a regular show when we started, because I probably wouldn't have started doing this one if it wasn't for that. Like I told them back then, and I think I've said it before here, that when they told me that, I said, well, we might only be able to interview, maybe 30 people a year. And at that rate, how would we ever even, we know there's probably 2,000 people that we could talk with, that we'd want to talk with in the hobby, whether they're collectors or dealers or artists or you name it, just ancillary people like gallery owners. And I just said, we got to step it up somehow. And if you don't want to do it, then I'm going to do it. And that's kind of what pushed us into doing the CAF update and rolling that into an interview afterwards. So I'm grateful. I'm actually grateful that they didn't want to do it. So, because I wouldn't have done it otherwise. So, all right, let's do the CAF update, because I do have a lot of work to get to. And feel free to, when I get done with the CAF update, if anybody has any questions on things, I have been getting a lot of questions about Comic Art Live from people who didn't attend or didn't exhibit in the first 2 shows. So if any questions come up and I don't get to answer them here, please email me after the show or anytime this weekend, and I'll be happy to walk you through any of the steps. And one of the bad things that happened with with Comic Art Live for this third version of it was we did that database upgrade where we bought the whole new database server and transferred everything. We lost only one thing in the transfer, and it happened to be the Comic Art Live booth descriptions. So anybody who was in the first or second show and they're starting their booth on the third one, that's why your booth description and your default booth image were gone, because it was very accidental, but and I regret that it happened. But of all the things I could have lost, it was that. Didn't lose anything with any dealers or anything like that, but that one thing really did hit home, because a lot of people had already done their booth descriptions before and were just ready to get in there and start adding art. and they couldn't do it. So my apologies to those of you that were affected by that, because everyone was. So, all right, so on to the update. This is for the period of May 3rd through May 9th, and super solid week for both original art dealers and for the auction houses. Dealers in particular, they sold $513,000 of original comic art last week as compared to $336,000 the week before. The usual suspects were all at the top of the list. Ramita Man was first with 72 sales and $114,000. Felix was next with 39 sales and $107,000. Felix, I think, had 4 complete book sales, which really helped him out. Albert Moy was just behind Felix with 75 sales and $106,000. And rounding out those other gentlemen would be Anthony's Comic Book Art, 108 sales, $83,000. Again, Anthony's doing really well now that he's on the Dueling Dealer Show. So this is good to see. I'm happy it's working out for him. IX Gallery did a couple sales as well. And as you know, I host their site, and it's more science fiction fantasy art. They had 16 sales for $47,000. And then finally, Panel Page was next with 36, and Splash Page Comic Art had a lot of sales, 30 sales, but just over $5,000 in sales. So let's bring up the top 6 sales from original comic art dealers last week. And first up, of course, is the King in Black issue 5 full. It's the cover and the complete issue. Ryan Stegman, sold by Felix for $50,000. Next up, this one was sold by Glenn from Panel Page Art. Asking price on this one was $35,000. It is the cover to Captain America 120. That hippie is shooting at Cap. Next up, another complete issue sale by Felix. Beta Ray Bill, issue 2, cover and interiors, sold for $22,000. Art by Daniel Warren Johnson, of course. Next up, this is another complete issue. Nick Klein, sold for $20,000. This is from Thor issue 14. I didn't read what this was for. It's, of course, Clint Eastwood, High Plains Drifter, so probably something very movie related, sold by Albert Moy for $18,000. The artist is Enzo Nistri. And finally, another sale by Albert. This was by Jim Lee and Scott Williams, sold for the asking price of $10,000. It's Green Arrow's 80th anniversary cover. So again, a very, very solid week for all the dealers. And the march goes on, right? I mean, the dealers are doing really well. The auction houses are doing really well. So it's all good for the hobby. I mean, at the end of the day, the more art that's getting pumped out into the system, I think the better. And I was just looking at Comic Link's featured auction, which I hadn't had the chance to look at until this evening. I know it started, was it Wednesday? I think maybe it was Thursday, but they had me change their ads today. And so every time they do that, I always kind of pop over and see what they've got. But really nice selection of artwork. I have a feeling that they're going to do even better with this featured auction than the last one. So my guess will be that we'll probably do an auction recap for their featured auction again, if they let me. I do ask them for permission on that rather than just running it out there. But I can't see how, if they don't have a really successful auction again, that they wouldn't let the 4 of us have at it and kind of promote the sales. Good thing for, yeah, I understand. I'm the same way. I wish I was buying as much art, but I am not. So let's look at the auction house results. So the auction house was steady. If you remember, like 3 weeks ago, it was 360,000, then it was 361, and this period it was $372,000. So both eBay and Heritage, which make up those figures, both had very solid sales weeks. Heritage more than eBay for a change, where they had, from their weekly auction, they sold $208,000 versus eBay's $164,000. So, Heritage definitely rolled out some pretty expensive stuff, and which you don't usually see in their weekly auctions. So, it's their midpoint between 2 signature auctions. So that's probably why. I remember they had a lot of they had some really pricey expensive stuff in between the last two signature auctions as well. So maybe it's just a trend. Remember, they were trying to set like weekly records, and they were at the beginning of the year. It seemed like I don't know. Again, they're just trying to probably set some nice strategy to push the market and push themselves ahead. And if they get the artwork back in everybody's hands faster, I'm sure we'd all be happier for it. But it's nice to have all that great artwork to buy. So let me do the top auction sales from last week. And first up is going to be this Frank Miller Claus Janson Daredevil 167 page. It's page 8. This sold for $6,000 on eBay. And up next is I believe it's all George Perez. Could be wrong. Didn't list an inker. So this is New Teen Titans Annual number 1, page 44. Sold for $3,800. And that was worth every penny. And now finally from eBay, this was an Adam Hughes Black Cat sketch, 11 by 14. It was a buy it now, believe it or not, and it sold for $3,399. And I like Spidey's hands there on that one. So next up are the 3 Heritage results. This was Ben Thompson, Heroic Comics 14, page 13, sold for $13,200. And then this was a Sheldon Mayer group of 28 pages, sold for $10,800. And I swear I've seen this first image out somewhere in the past. So I'm not sure if this was something that didn't get picked up and then they resold, or maybe the buyer put it right back to auction. And finally, this is it's Sergeant Fury number 34, page 18, sold for $7,800. Dick Ayers and John Tartaglione. So nice, group of auctions from Heritage. And yep, love George's Titans. That would be it. Mike's had a lot of pages flow through his hands in the last year. So I've seen a lot of really great Perez Titans artwork, and I'm very envious every time I see it, because I know I'm not going to be able to buy one, but it's nice to see it. I mean, George's run on that, like everybody knows I'm not a DC guy, but the 2 series that I purchased and read religiously, because I loved everything, was the New Teen Titans, of course, and then also Giffen's run on the Legion of Superheroes. So, and I love the Omega Men too. I mean, so those I did, and primarily because of the art and storytelling. But those were the books that I read, and of course, Crisis on Infinite Earths I bought as well. One of our birthday boy Nick Barucci's favorites. So everybody should be wishing Nick a happy birthday. He just had a very successful sales show this evening. And I know I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but I did see that art was selling, and that's always a good thing. I'm glad to see that. And yeah, Larry, I think that the Daredevil one was a straight auction. I could tell you if I could get the darn thing to open, but well, I'll have to double check. But it's in the market report, so yes. But I agree that was was it? Was okay. Romeo's Inks on that one. Okay, it didn't list it in the description that I quickly browsed over. So, but that makes sense. And there you go. See, sorry, I'm reading through I shouldn't read the chats while I'm trying to do these. All right. So popular art. Everybody's here for the popular art. What did we pick for the popular art today? So I'm going to start showing off some good artwork. And of course, Dinesh had a couple pieces in this list. I don't know if anybody was paying attention last week, but he dropped some doozies out there on Comic Art Fans, and they got a lot of attention. So of course, they had to be in our list today. So first up is in the collection of Dean Abraham. This is Thor: God of Thunder, 1 and 2 covers by Asad Ribic, or Ribich, as Anthony likes to say. I don't know why. That must be a friendly thing, or maybe that's how you pronounce it. Next up is one of Dinesh's pieces. This is New Mutants number 88 cover, second appearance of Cable, Rob Liefeld and Todd McFarlane. One hell of a cover right there. Next up is the cover to Infinity Gauntlet number 4, and in Dinesh's collection as well, George Perez pencils and inks on this one. Next up is a page from Wolverine 68. This is in the collection of Ben Bressel, and the artist, of course, is Mark Teixeira. And Ruben, I like this artwork a lot. This is, of course, by Mike Perkins. It's Lois Lane, number 6, page 22. Lois mourning her father. Really touching page. Next up, this is in the collection of Paul P. This is Untold Tales of Spider-Man number 5. It's title splash from 1996. Pat Olliffe and Al Milgrom. Tongue-tied tonight. Al Milgrom. Next up, collection of Sean Lowe and a non-premium member, so it's a little fuzzy, of course, when I had to expand it. This is Wolverine number 1, page 7, Frank Miller and Joe Rubinstein. Next up is a page from Ultra Mega and in the collection of Yo Curry. And this, of course, is James Herron from the art drop from Felix recently. And this is Ryan Otley. Once again, collection of Paul P. This is Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales swinging into battle, War of the Realms number 1 cover from 2019. Next up, this was a Dueling Dealers pickup, I believe, by Larry. This is from Spider-Man 2099, number 11 cover. Rick Leonardi and Al Williamson, or maybe I'm just it's not. No, it wasn't. It was not a pickup. Sorry. Yep. See, I'm an off night again, guys and gals. This piece is Sensation Comics number 1, collection of Michael 1 Minute Later, Bernie Kriegstein. This is an amazing Brian Bolland, Judge Dredd, Child Quest number 2 cover. This is in the collection of Matt E. If you haven't checked out Matt's collection, you definitely should. He's got one heck of one. This is in the collection of The Guise 2, and it's by Alex Saviuk, and it's Web of Spider-Man number 94 from 1992. This is in my good buddy Dino Mauricio's collection. It's Mike Grell and Vince Coletta. This is Warlord number 25. It's pages 2 and 3 from 1979. 2 more to go. This is Cosmic Ghost Rider from Flaviano Armentero, collection of Chris Snorek. Very Blacklight-like. And finally, collection of Jason D'Ambrosia. I put this one in there because I think Cap's going to get his rear end handed to him. Juggernaut versus Cap by Lee Weeks. And I just had to put that one in there. I'm a huge Juggernaut fan, so seeing those two paired together just didn't make any sense, and I loved it, and had to end with that in my popular artwork selections. So let's see. There you go. Yeah, exactly. I should have put the Thor hat on tonight. And I completely agree with you, Alfredo, on that one. That cover was phenomenal. I mean, I should have probably put it first in the list because I think it was my favorite artwork of the week last week. And agree with you on that one, Dino. The Bolland was completely amazing, and it's a nice size scan too, so you can really get in and look at all the detail on that one too. So, and yes, Chris, you did. You made it exactly. So I try to spread it around. And as often as I can. And Chris, yeah, the Grow is absolutely beautiful. So, and that's that would be another book that I read, and again, because of the art, I think that DC as storylines never really engaged me, but I always liked good art growing up, and I was talking with somebody recently about the idea of like, how do you grow this hobby? And I'll just kind of put it out there. It's because some people are of the opinion that you can take the hobby the size that it is today and like multiply it times 5. And during the course of having done all these chats with everybody, I've thought about that a lot over the last year, because it's something that has come up in a few conversations that I have had business wise. And what I've come to the realization, and I may be wrong, I think by and large we all seem to have the same story, right? I mean, we all collected comics, and then we discovered art and we started buying it, and it was it was like a revelation to us all. But for the most part, I feel like most of us had a reason to appreciate art before we became art collectors, right? I mean, comics was a way out, and we loved the art in it, but we didn't quite understand that we could buy the art. But everyone the one that my takeaway from all the conversations I have with collectors is I'm over impressed by how into the art everyone is. It's not just that, you're not collecting it because you appreciate spandex and the story, the characters only. I mean, when we do the collector conversations and you listen to Dino talk about his appreciation for the depth in an artwork, and he explains how that was created, I know that we're looking at the art in ways that uh, really it's very pleasing to me, because not having had a lot of those kind of conversations with people until we did these live streams, I really wasn't really sure of what made up the reason why we collect art. But I firmly believe that we all had an appreciation for the arts in one way or another, whether you were into fashion design or your parents painted. We had a reason to appreciate it. So what I think that when I look at the hobby and I think of people talking about being able to grow it 5 or 10 times than what it is today, and I have my feelings on how big the hobby is today, as far as like really heavy duty collectors versus average collectors versus people who'd probably rather buy a signed print or a remarked print. Growing it to something that's 5 to 10 times where it is today, even if we said it was 10 years down the road, I just don't see how that's really possible, because I feel like we all, we collect it because we have this definite appreciation for the arts. And the argument I would make is, like, I could go into town and ask how many people went to the Cleveland Museum of Art in the last year. And, by and large, I bet you I couldn't find 1% of the people in my 15,000 person town that it went. And so I think the same thing kind of holds true here. If you had to grow up with an appreciation for the art, and maybe arts, and maybe it came a little bit later, maybe when I was in college, but you had that appreciation, and not everybody has that. Supporting the arts isn't something that a lot of the common man really does. And and for me, I'm kind of content and happy with that, because it makes me realize that we do appreciate the art, the comic art and the illustration art and the science fiction fantasy art and everything that we collect, in a very personal and special way, because we appreciate the effort that goes into those pages. And it's not just the superficial, I want to collect some Captain America art because I think that would be neat. We really look at it, and I think that that's what makes it unique. That's why so many other people you can't go to a show. You could have somebody standing at the front door to a con handing out original comic art sketches, right? Just small stuff. Hero Initiative can hand out 3 by 3 inch sketches for free to try to get people into comic art. And if they don't have an appreciation for the art, they're just going to slide that in their bag and they're never going to look at it again, right? Anybody who's had that, you might be kicking off the urge to buy art early for those of us, like myself, or like all of you in the chat, that wow, I could actually own a piece of original art. So that would happen. But by and large, the majority of the people would rather be wearing a Spider-Man T-shirt or an Avengers, Infinity Gauntlet shirt, or cosplaying or whatever. They're not going to buy art because it's just not their thing. And so, collecting art is a very special thing. And so, while like I said, I've had these conversations with a few different marketing people that were curious about the size of the hobby and how do you grow it and all that. I don't think it can be exponentially grown just by anything. You can't put an ad in the Super Bowl and try to convince people to buy original comic art. That won't work. Handing art out at the front of a line of a con is not going to make people appreciate and want to buy comic art. You really have to be born with it. So it has grown. Yeah, definitely it's grown. But I look at it and I think that the collecting base of art hasn't grown as quickly as the merchandising side of things has. Clearly it hasn't. So that's all. Wanted to leave you with that thought, and that wasn't really my plan coming into the show tonight. But that's the way I look at it, and I think that's kind of cool. It makes the hobby be even more unique to me, to know that we all have this very personal attachment to the work and to the craftsmanship that goes into the pages. And I could listen to Dino talk about art any day, and Mikhail. I've seen, everybody really just makes me so happy when I hear people talk about original art. Talking with gosh, I mean, any of the people that we've spoken with recently. Grant's conversation last night was fantastic. He had great stories for all 18 pieces of art, and some of them were because of his relationships with the artists, and some of them was because of his appreciation for the art itself. And yeah, I'm very happy. I wonder how many collectors draw. Well, there you go. I mean, I went to art school. I wanted to be an illustrator. So, I gravitated towards different things after I realized I probably wasn't good enough, or and I didn't go to a school that was really heavy on as an illustration focus. But I have a good friend um, who went into, I mentioned fashion design because I know that that was really where he kind of got, where he went to school. And so, and he's a very big art collector. And you look at that and you say, yeah, we all had something art related in our backgrounds that makes us look at art today and want to own it, now that we're older. And it's because it's cool because it's in a thing that we've always loved all our lives, so yeah. See, Tyler, that's how I feel. I once thought I could draw, and yeah, what I should pull out, because I'll tell you, I aped John Byrne like you wouldn't believe. So lots of bad rapidograph drawings, and yeah. So that's see, there we go. A lot of people have it, whether it's marketing and yeah, you think with Grant last night, and what was Grant's background? He's in visual marketing. He does. Um, uh, what was that? He films commercials. I mean, he's done different jobs, but all of it being very visual. So, I mean, it's like I can't think of too many stories where it's like the auto mechanic. And if any of your auto mechanics out there, that didn't have an appreciation for art and just walked in and said, "Wow, I'm going to buy comic art." It just doesn't happen. So anyway, I think there are only. Sorry, I'm just going to pull up Scott Reno. Bill, to your point, I think there are only so many that truly love the art for art's sake. It doesn't need to grow. Let's feel good. I know that's the whole point. I mean, it's kind of where I'm at. I look at it, and because my opinion is, while we've had a growth in the hobby, and we see all the late 30-year-olds and early 40s collecting heavily in the 90s artwork today. So those are kind of new people. The thing is, it's that churn. You hit that moment where it's still the thing where you walked into a show and then you realized you could buy artwork, or you stumbled into CAF, or you found it on eBay. But so we have that regular rollover of new large collectors coming into the hobby. But by and large, it's this small group. I mean, when I think, CAF is the center of the collecting universe at the end of the day, right? And I can tell you, stat wise, that that I think we probably have on average 8,000 collectors logging into the site every month. And it fluctuates. Some people only come back every month, once a month, or every other month. But and of those 8 or 9,000 people, half of them actually have CAF galleries, and the other half use the site just for reaching out to other collectors and whatnot. So you think about it, that's a really small number. And I know that 2dgalleries.com, the EU equivalent of CAF, is kind of pulled a lot of the European collectors over. But if our market in the U.S. by and large is somewhere between say 10 to 15,000 collectors who might be willing to spend up to $5,000 piece for art. I mean, it's just not it's not as big as everybody wants it to be. At least some people want it to be, and it's never going to grow. It's going to continue to grow, but it's not going to grow beyond our clique. I mean, I can't believe, I look at it and I think that, we know most of the bigger collectors that are out there, and that's just how the hobby is. So Jerry Rasco created, very good, very good. For the love of the game. Yes, Mikhail, I can't wait for Monday. I really can't. Your green screen that you showed me today was freaking awesome. I can't tell you how much I appreciate getting it as a green screen. It's going to be really, really neat. So, yeah, I mean, sorry, just reading through a few of the things. And, and I should thank Carlos Mo, who's been in the chat for a lot, became a premium member today. So, I mean, I sincerely appreciate that support. I wish I could thank everybody when they renew, or when they become a premium member first. So I wanted to thank Carlos. I haven't seen him comment in the chat yet tonight, but but yeah, those things really mean a lot to me when, because I'd emailed with Carlos a bunch, just different questions throughout the year that he's been using CAF. I think he really came into CAF around the first Comic Art Live show, and it's so about that, Carlos. That's as long as they do, I'm happy. It doesn't matter how much it takes or how long it takes for that to happen. And I agree. There is definitely, Scott. There's definitely some trophy hunting out there. And sorry, just trying to read through the Monday Night War amateur dueling dealers. Exactly, ADD. That's where we've been calling it as we put things together on the side. But yeah, it's definitely Monday's going to be fun, and I can tell you that Jason's memes are hilarious. I know everybody's going to get a kick out of them. I'm going to be getting Mikhail's, I think he said tomorrow, and I'm working on the new introduction for that show tomorrow as well. So I know it's going to be a good one. And so outside of all of that, I think that's more than enough, right, everybody? Okay, just trying to read back through some of the chats where Rich says if it goes beyond the current exclusivity, we won't be able to afford. Right, exactly. And so I think that that's really where we're going to be at. I don't think we're going to see tremendous growth, which is fine. I mean, the hobby's growing faster than we can all keep up with it anyway. So I'm happier not having the base continue to grow or expand. I mean, it'd be nice if it did in its own weird way. I mean, certainly CAF would profit from all that, but I'm not. I've never been in it for that. So at any rate, I could ramble on, but I have a lot of Comic Art Live work to do. I've got a bunch of memes to start working on. And so I've got a busy weekend. So, and I forget who said it, but right at the end of, as I was turning off the show last night, somebody said, you got to have an outtake. You got to have like something to, instead of just like cutting it off. So I know that Nick does a great job on the EXP. He has great intros and great little outros to kind of end his shows. So as soon as I have a second to work on something like that, so rather than like just turning off the lights on you every time we do this, I will work up something that at least is a nice, pleasant way to end my shows. So, and maybe even intro them. I don't know. I'm kind of happy just popping in here, but great suggestion. Exactly. And well, Mikhail, it was from. I started doing the timer at the beginning of Dueling Dealers because of you. I saw you and Jason chatting in the chat before one of the shows started, and I think one of you said, "I wonder if Bill knows that he comes in halfway through his first sentence." And I was like, oh, I never even thought about that. That's YouTube's way of getting everybody kind of caught up, is they cut off the first couple seconds as they try to get you as close to live. And that was why we started introducing the little countdown timer on Dueling Dealers, because I didn't want that to happen anymore. A dance number. Now, I don't think we'll do a dance number, but actually there may be a dance number. I can't say that there won't be. But yes, Michaela, it was all your fault. That's why I did it. And I was glad to have read that, because otherwise I would have been always starting these shows cut off, at least to the people watching live. You go back and rewatch it, of course, I'm not cut off in the middle. It was always starting when it should, but whatever YouTube's algorithm was, they were just trying to speed it up and get the show caught up. Because one thing we have noticed, that chats, even in the chat, before the show starts, chats sometimes take a minute to actually get into our platform because we're watching both things at one time. But as soon as the show starts, whatever YouTube does, everything speeds up and gets connected faster. And but it's definitely a weird moment the way they start things out. So I'm not going to try to understand it. I'm just going to work around it, and that's why we're doing those intro videos. 80s sitcom freeze frames. Yes, exactly. Well, there's definitely some of that's going to be coming up, and bloopers. Yeah, I've actually got a Tim. I owe you an email. I know that you emailed me a couple days ago, so I will email you this evening. But yeah, Anthony's got so many. Anthony sends me so much material, and so much of it I can't use because, number one, they shoot their memes and they're not using it. They're not using a tripod, and they're doing it on a phone. And so, I've got shaky cam. If you watch the video I did with Anthony as a Silver Surfer, you'll see he's actually sliding back and forth on the surfboard because the guy was just tipping his camera up and down the whole time. And I tried to keep him steady, but yeah, if you could actually go back and watch that, he's just all back and forth. So Anthony's stuff it takes a lot of work, definitely. Whereas for when I shoot Mike's, it's all easy because we're always using a tripod and we never have any issues with stuff like that. But yeah, I could do a lot of bloopers because I just throw Anthony's stuff away at half the time because I'm like, I can't work with this. It's just that bumpy. Or he'll shoot 20 minutes for me to get a 10-second bit, and I've got 20 minutes of him doing. At any rate, I will make it into a blooper reel. It's something we've been talking about doing, and I think after Comic Art Live is over, I'll have a lot more time to pull that together because I've probably got 4 hours of Anthony choking on a stogie, where he's like he was trying to do a thing bit, and Sharon says, that stogie's been sitting on the floor behind your couch for the last year, and he just starts hacking. And it's all real because they're just trying to film these small bits. And so I've got a lot of embarrassing material out there on both those guys. So definitely a missing glove. Yeah. No moon dancing though, or moonwalking. I'm sorry. See, long night. I have got to get to work. I've got to get back to work, and plenty of bloopers in here. So Mikhail, feel free to send me the bloopers. We can put them all together. I bet you Dino and Jordan have a few bloopers as well that we could weave into something really fun. Because I know that blooper again. I know that a lot of people would love to just have a segment of of those memes, and so I know that I want to definitely put together, once I hit a certain number of unique intros, I want to kind of go through my putting all those intros into a separate thing that we can go back and watch and put a little bit of commentary in between on why I did what I did, or what prompted the inspiration behind some of that. So yes, exactly. Yes. Sorry, I'm just reading through some of the things. So anyway, Jordan's embarrassed. They can't be too embarrassing, Jordan. So and Dino's too. Well, that's why we want them. That's why you should send them to me. Absolutely. I can tell you, I am the one that would be really funny to just show in its entirety. Two of them that I did with Mike when he did the Die Hard where he's like, Bill told me to come to Dueling Dealers and hang out with Anthony Snyder and sell some art. I mean, he screwed that up so badly about 6 times because I'm like, you got to be mad at me. Come on, say, be PO'd that I dragged you into into an air duct and made you come out to Dueling Dealers. And so, but that whole segment, we did it all green screen, and he is laying on a green square pillow in that wife beater that he had on, and every time, and he'd light the lighter and he'd get halfway through his thing and his speech would blow the lighter out. So it's just blooper after blooper of him doing that. But one of the best ones that he did was when that Hulk at the bar, or Hulk at the bar with the Thor helmet on, he just kept putting his head down. He'd go, and then he'd come back up, and then he'd say another thing. He did like 20 of those in a row. And they were super funny, and it was just nonstop. And he finally was just like, all right, I think I'm done. So that kind of stuff I would love to show in its entirety, because they really should be seen that way, not just as a 6-second meme. So, all right. Anyway, yes, I'm glad for the Friday shows too. These are kind of relaxing for me. It's great to get in front of everybody and not have a guest where we can just kind of BS and I can read through the chats and it's just all of us on our own. So anyway, if anybody has any questions, please email me about Comic Art Live stuff over the weekend. I'll be happy to answer it. I want as many participants as we've had in the past. I know I haven't probably PR'd it as much as I have before, and I kind of realize that now. I should have started a little bit earlier. So yeah, anybody who's looking to Carlos, see that Carlos is in the chat. Carlos, what did you miss? You missed me thanking you earlier, so now you've been thanked again. Thank you for going premium. So anyway, all right, guys, I'm calling it a night. We did it's almost 50 minutes. See, time flies even when I'm by myself doing this thing. So again, hit me up if you have any questions on anything, And if anybody else is interested on doing an amateur dueling dealer, please let me know. We've got a couple different things in the works. I believe I know who my June amateur dueling dealers are going to be. We won't announce that until we work out the date, but we're definitely looking at doing more shows. I'm sure I'll do I don't know if I'll do a Saturday show in June, because with Comic Art Live at the end of May, and I am taking about 9 days off in June. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do a Saturday show in June, but definitely in July we'll do something. And but I do want to keep doing these amateur shows once a month, and we've definitely got some options out there. So anybody's interested, we don't always have to stick to the same price levels. I'm very open to just doing, whatever fits the two duelers, right? If we need to go lower, that's fine. Might as well. I'm perfectly content with that. Don't feel it to be on the show you have to have the highest price stuff. So, you guys. All right, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you everybody for tuning in as always, and be sure to tune in on Sunday for the Collectors Conversations. It's going to be a lot of fun. And beginning on Sunday, I've got probably, I guess, 8 straight days of shows. So it's going to be another one of those grueling weeks, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it. And I will see many of you Sunday at 9 p.m. All right. No outro for you, but thanks. And I'll see you again on Sunday.